Hey everyone, Eduardo here, back with another street photography POV. If you're new to the channel, I'm a studio portrait photographer based out of Los Angeles, and lately I've been trying my hand at street photography as a way to get out of my comfort zone and also to challenge myself to see from a different genre of photography. For this episode, I used the Sony A7C that I recently purchased, and being that I'm still new to the world of street photography, I decided to pair it up with the Sony 50mm f1.8 because this focal length has seemed to be almost perfect for me, for someone that's still in the beginner phase of this genre. And what I mean by that is that it has allowed me to be just the right amount of distance from certain subjects without being too intrusive. So here's the POV in downtown Los Angeles, and make sure to stick around at the end where I'll be sharing my initial impressions of the Sony A7C when it comes to street photography. Enjoy. See if I can get a shot of these people in there. This was a pathetic attempt at a hip shot. Chopped off her head. this is actually pretty cool. So I see this sign, greetings from downtown, but this place is like so desolate and not lively at all. So actually, let me see if I can get a cool shot here. Oh, maybe this shot could work. I can show that next to all that. The main thing I want to do here is pretty much blow out that square, blow out the outside, and have somebody walk through. And then in post, I'll blow out the highlights, darken the shadows and the blacks, and then hopefully get like a cool silhouette of somebody going through passing through a bright square. So what do I think of the Sony A7C when it comes to street photography after one session? It's all right. No. I actually do quite like it, although I do have some complaints. The first being the annoyingly small rangefinder on this thing. I know that a bigger size rangefinder or viewfinder would have probably compromised the overall small form factor of this camera, but come on. It's honestly surprisingly very small for someone like me coming over from the A7 III. I'm a photographer that likes raising the camera up to my face and looking through the viewfinder so I can see every detail possible of the scene I'm trying to capture in front of me. But with this camera, I have to really shove my eye into the small opening of the rangefinder to see the inner screen so much that it makes for an uncomfortable experience when trying to take pictures that way. The other issue I have with this camera is the lack of a front dial, which as a photographer is essential to have in order to help you change your settings a lot faster. This is especially a setback when it comes to street photography or any other type of photography that deals with motion and action for that matter, because you want to be able to change your settings as quickly as possible in order to keep up with the scene going on in front of you. To help me solve this issue, I've made the selection wheel register my aperture, which has helped, although I still stutter sometimes because my instinct is to use my index finger to change the aperture as I do with my A7 III. This is an issue that I can see fixing over time with me becoming more comfortable with this camera and using it more often over time. As for the grip on the camera, it does at times feel a bit small and like you will drop it holding it at certain angles, but this is something I can live with for now. I have thought about maybe purchasing a thumb grip and seeing how that might improve the overall feel, but I'll see. But putting these complaints aside, the one thing I really like about the A7C for street photography is its small size. And this for me is a huge plus because being that I'm relatively still new to the world of street photography, having a camera body that is more inconspicuous compared to my A7 III Just makes me feel more comfortable in going out and raising the camera up to take pictures of strangers when in public. Also, with this small size, it does not give off a professional camera vibe, which is great when trying to photograph strangers because they might think you're a tourist and just brush it off. Although this of course can be impacted by what lens you decide to pair the A7C with. The few times I've used this lens so far, I've made sure to use my smaller primes such as the 28mm f2 or the 50mm f1.8. If I were to go out and use say my 85mm f1.4, then I think it would definitely draw more attention because of how big that lens is. Also, its smaller size means that it takes up less space in my camera bag and it makes me more willing to take it with me whenever I go out. A couple of other things I like about the A7C are its articulating flip out screen, which to be honest, I haven't really put to use out on the street, but I can definitely see how this feature is going to come in handy when trying to frame up shots down the road. So far I've only used the flip out screen to record these talking head portions, which has made filming much easier and faster to set up. I like that it uses the same battery as my A7 III because I already have a couple of those and it lasts a very long time with this camera when in photo mode. I like that it's weather sealed because it means that I now have the option of going out to shoot in rainy conditions, something that I would have definitely not have risked when using my A7 III. And finally, I really like the silver top finish on this camera body. It's nothing special that's going to impact the images, but personally it just makes me feel like I'm using an old film camera, and it's a nice change from the all black profile of the A7 III. So there you have it. These were my first impressions using the Sony A7C for street photography. I think that for now I'm going to continue using it as my main camera for street photography just so I can get more comfortable and more used to it, and I'm going to reserve the A7 III for my studio portraits. I hope you enjoyed and found the video helpful if you are considering getting this camera, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.